Hello! Miss Vincent is here today to discuss the 5 golden rules of creating a test. Woo! Yeah!
Hi guys, this is Miss Vincent here. I would like to thank my little sister for the great introduction. Let me put that microphone away, guys. But again, my name is Miss Vincent, and I'm here to talk to you guys about the 5 golden rules to writing a test that I believe are important. This podcast video is about what I believe are the 5 golden rules to writing a test, which is using simple and precise wording, being consistent, making your instructions clear, keeping all the answer choices the same length, and don't forget about feedback. That's very important, especially with younger kids. All right? The first rule is using simple and precise wording. Construct tests using simple sentences whenever possible by being precise in wording choices because, due to the English language, one word can have several meanings within different contexts. So, always write clearly and consistently. Choose words deliberately and precisely when constructing sentences to eliminate dead wood or words that students don't understand quite yet, and use grammar correctly. Get straight to the point in the test question and make sure it gets across to your students who will be able to comprehend it correctly. So, my example of using simple and precise wording, let me get my example here, is this. All right. My example of a simple and precise test question would be the elements of water are hydrogen and oxygen. But the bad one is this. The elements of water sometimes include hydrogen and oxygen as well. So, the top one, it's precise, gets straight to the point, where the one on the bottom, it just gives us too many context words, and I don't know, it's just very confusing to me. So, simple, sweet, to the point. All right. The second rule that I found to be very important when writing a test, what I believe is the 5 golden rules, so this would be number 2, is being consistent. Okay? Keep specific formats for developing questions and answer options constantly throughout the school year within constructing test questions. It helps students to learn what to expect when you give a test or a quiz in your classroom. And they can concentrate their efforts on the subject matter rather than having to check the question format each time. So it limits the, congestion, it relieves some stress that students may have with taking tests or quizzes. So, an example I have for being consistent as one of my golden rules is this. When we do fill in the blank questions, some teachers will put the blank at the beginning, some will put it at the end, some will put it in the middle, or they'll have more than one blank. Well, choose one and stick with it. Do not, mix it up or go back and forth. Choose one way you're going to write fill in the blank and keep it consistent. So when I write fill in the blank, I always put the blank at the end. Okay. I personally do not like the blank at the beginning. It's just very confusing and also kind of creates some confusion, I personally think, from my own personal test experience. So I prefer blank at the very end of my test question. So my example of a test question is the chemical elements hydrogen and oxygen combine to create blank. Okay? Where the one at the bottom is blank is composed of the chemical elements hydrogen and oxygen. I just think it reads smoothly if it's at the end, but it's your choice on how you would like to construct that test question. Okay? So on to rule number 3 of my 5 golden rules for writing a test. is making your instructions clear. Use clear student learning instructions such as choose all the answers that apply or enter just the numbers in the box below without any additional text. Provide clear instructions, ensure students fully comprehend what they must do during the test. Reason why is you want to make sure your instructions are clear so students get started right away, but also limit the distraction of a teacher repeating instructions or a teacher, repeating instructions multiple times to students individually. So make sure your instructions are clear to begin with on the paper. An example I have is when I was an elementary teacher, I was having a pizza party because my little students did great. They were able to identify certain art movements, and we received a lot of good feedback from our substitute teacher. So I constructed a question like this to figure out their favorite toppings, and it was very clear and it was to the point, and I was able to get it done within less than 3 minutes to get everyone's responses. So, and I only had to verbally say the instructions once. So a question like this would be, what is your favorite pizza topping? Check mark the topping that's your favorite. So it states right in the instruction, students need to check mark what topping is their favorite. Either it's pepperoni, mushrooms, anchovies. I always had a hard time saying that word. Sausage, hamburger, or other. And I emphasize, please be specific. I attach a box where students can write down a specific topping they like, such as pineapple or Canadian bacon. You name a pizza topping, they usually would write it here. Okay? So on to my fourth rule of the 5 golden rules for writing a test will be place most of the words in the question stem. When I was hearing question stem, I was very confused, and for some reason when it popped in my head, I was thinking of flower. Because when I hear the word stem, I think of flower. Okay? When constructing multiple choice questions, keep answers short by putting most of the information in the question stem. The stem part of the question is defined as the part of the multiple choice item that asks a question or poses a problem to be solved. Alternative choices and options usually is the different answers students can choose. This is the list of suggested responses given by the teacher for the students to choose the correct answer or the best answer possible for the question that they believe. The distractor is usually the 3 other answer choices that students can choose. They usually are the wrong answers. And last but not least, the beginning to open-ended questions. It's a great way to start open-ended questions in student discussions, and you'll be able to hold students accountable. So an example of a question stem is this, and I did go back on all my experiences with my elementary students, especially when we did a lot of Pokemon lessons. So this is an example of a question such as, what year was the first Pokemon card printed and sold for purchase? A, 1990, B, 1996, C, 1992, or D, 1994? To my surprise, when I was writing this question stem, I was amazed to learn that Pokemon cards were first developed, printed, and sold in 1996, so they're about 25 years old, almost 26 today. So, when looking at my example, the question, what year was the first Pokemon card printed and sold for purchase, is the stem. The correct answer would be like the alternatives and choices and options. And the dictator would be A, C, and D. They are the incorrect answers, so they're there to kind of basically, challenge students to think very clearly what we discuss in class. And it's a great way to start open, just ended questions, open-ended discussions with students. I asked this question with my older elementary kids in art, second and third grade. Is a great way to, start a whole class discussion about Pokemon, kind of learning about their favorite Pokemon, which led to me to create a Pokemon Among Us scavenger hunt, which I taught all my students how to draw a Pokemon theme Among Us characters, which we then cut out and we hid all over the playground. It was very fun, very exciting. It was awesome to see the kids running around trying to catch Among Us characters. It was a very fun time. Alright, last but not least, the last rule that I think is a great rule for 5 golden rules for writing a test, which is don't forget about feedback. Especially when you're writing tests, that's the whole point of writing a test or a quiz, is to get feedback on what your students know, what they're comprehending, and what their weakness is, and what they're struggling on what you taught them throughout the week. So, as an art teacher, I don't just give a total score. I don't pass or fail. I don't give them a letter grade to students. When I return tests or quizzes or assignments or projects, I show students what they did wrong by providing specific feedback for every incorrect answer by explaining why it wasn't correct, what are my suggestions for you to grow from it and fix it, before they gave it back to me for like a final grade. So it's basically like an objective evaluation of their work, but it allows me to have that teachable moment with them, be able to communicate one-on-one if possible at my desk, to try to show them by actually pointing at their project, this is what was successful, this was what was wrong, or it allows me to have like a whole class peer review or feedback session where all the students were able to show their artwork on the projector. We was able to analyze it. They were able to get feedback from other peers. So when I provided feedback as an elementary art teacher, I like Disney movies. I like cartoons. That's just creative aspect of, my personality. I like being creative. So I was thinking, what would be a great way of providing feedback that's not just, a plain piece of paper, black and white. I like color, I like shades. So this is what I came up with, and this is what I did with my kids. It's called the feedback ticket. If you guys ever watched the movie Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, this is their golden ticket, which I wrote positive comments, positive feedback. I always try to stay positive, gave them little suggestions, because again, they're little kids. They don't understand a lot of technical terms yet in art, because I'm just teaching them the basics, and I'm trying to grow them to understand the basics. So I kept everything pretty much fun, simple to the point. And this is a great way for them to communicate with their parents. Hey, this is what I did in class. They show their project. They show this feedback ticket. Their parents can see what they were good at, what I spotted, what they were struggling with. And it gives parents a great way of, hey, maybe we can do this at home. Maybe, for example, I wrote a feedback to a student who struggled with staying in the lines. So I wrote it on here, and the parent communicated with me asking, I saw what you wrote on their project, feedback ticket. They had trouble staying in the line. Is there a way for me to help my child succeed in it? So I provide the parent with suggestions such as, practice just coloring in simple shapes. Try to challenge your student to stay in the line as possible. Try to keep it very neat, because we're practicing, our craft, our quality of our artwork for that. So, when I think of the 5 golden rules when writing a test, I think about this quote. And I'm not sure if you guys ever heard this quote, but the pencil is mightier than the pen. I would always say that to my little kids. The pencil is always mightier than the pen. Because with the pen, it's permanent. But with the pencil, we can go light, we can go dark. But we can always fix our mistakes. So when writing 5 golden rules of what I believe you need to write a effective test, I was thinking of a pencil. So the 5 golden rules I just talked to you guys about, I broke them up into 5 pieces. And if we put these 5 pieces together, we can become a pencil for our students, and we can educate them on how to work through our mistakes and how to grow as individuals. So our first rule is use simple and precise wording. Being consistent. Making your instructions clear. Place most of the words in a question stem, but also don't forget our feedback. So taking all the pieces, all the rules together, we put them together to be the best possible test writer we can be for our students. And again, when you write tests, understand this, being the pencil behind the test, you're going to make mistakes. But what we can do as teachers is to learn from them, put our stuff together, and become a pencil. Be the pencil of change, be the pencil of educating our young students, be the pencil of creativity, and, be the pencil of learning from our mistakes and learning how to grow from them as individuals. So, thank you guys so much for watching this video. See you guys later.